Hi, it's Tiger Empress with another reading. Thank you for watching my videos. So for this video, it's going to be a pick a card. I decided to do something different. It's going to be, this is about past life. So you can kind of get a sense, past life journey, probably one of your past life stories, what went on in your past lives. I feel like with past life, sometimes it can give some clarity of why some things happen or is happening in your life. Because sometimes it can be because of karma, some things that were not resolved in the past life and it's continuing to happen now. Why some things happen the way that they are. So you have 3 piles. Pile number 1, Rose Quartz. Pile number 2, Moonstone. And pile number 3, Kuzite. So we're going to start with pile number 1. Before we get started though, keep in mind this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. I'm doing my own little homemade deck. I was drawn to make 77 cards. Well, 75, I'm sorry. It has characteristics as far as location, so if you were in a desert, lake, near ocean, the sea. Then it has ethnicities though. Italian, Roman, Greek, Egyptian, different, what I want to say, positions that you may have been. So you might have been a teacher, a shaman, a sheriff, an artist, and then it goes on to different things that were going on. So probably with some karma, you were married, you had lovers, you were a tyrant, you had evil tendencies, you were a dictator. So it's just a whole spectrum of things. So I'm going to be using that deck. And if I need any clarity, I will use other decks. Keep in mind, there's a probability that there might be multiple stories in each pile. So I might end up, you might hear 2 stories of past life instead of 1, depending how spirit feels. Then I think for this reading, from this point on with all readings, I think I'm going to have a pull deck from my crystal deck to give like the energy of kind of the video. For this video, we have the Amethyst, the intuition of the 3rd eye chakra. So what I'm feeling for this is that when I'm doing these past lives, I'm feeling like a lot of you intuitively would know if this is going on in your life, or this theme feels like what's going on in your life, or these patterns feel familiar, or you feel a connection to the story. Like for this reading with these 3 piles, I feel like whoever's watching in whatever pile you choose, some way, somehow you're going to connect in some way. Like I said, with the energy, the story, just your interest, because it's a feeling of familiarity. So once again, it is a general reading, so keep what resonates and leave the rest. So we're going to get started with pile number 1, which was Rose Quartz. So we have the Rose Quartz. Don't mind my burnt finger. Me trying to light these incense and burn my thumb. Then we have Rose Quartz up close, the card. So of course, when you think Rose Quartz, you think love, just whole heart chakra when I think of love. So there's a possibility, pile 1, that there might be an energy of love. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but love might be a general theme. So these came out of the floor. They just popped out. Let me see. I'm hearing no. So I'm gonna keep shuffling because I'm hearing no for that pile one. I didn't really shuffle good. But let's get into your energy. What is pile one's past life? Spirit. Ooh, let me fix these cards. Ancestors, spirit guides, and angels. Please help me stop these messages. What was the past life of pile one? What was the past life of pile one? Okay, let's see what we have, because a lot came out. So, pile one, we have Pharaoh. So, automatically thinking Egyptian times. Lover. Married. Queen. So, I'll put that right next to there. City. And dictator. So obviously pile one, so you could be male or female watching this, doesn't matter, but I do pick up on during this lifetime you are probably the queen. You're the queen to the pharaoh. So I've been told that during past lives you can be male or female. It doesn't really matter because remember, everything's about energy. So during this lifetime, you were a woman. You were married to the pharaoh. You were lovers and you were married. You probably live in the city. So it could be the major cities of that time, which was what is it? I feel like I'm gonna butcher Cairo, Egypt, Alexander. Ooh. Yeah, sorry for my silence because I'm trying to pick up these messages. Definitely during obviously the Egyptian time. Alexander. Why do I want to keep saying that? I think that was one of the ancient cities in Egypt. I don't know if it's still existing now, but I definitely know it was existing with Caesar during that time. Let's pick up on some energy, pile one. What is the energy like for pile one's past life? Being the king and the pharaoh and the queen. What is the energy, spirit? Pile one's past life. Okay, what is creativity? Expression. Connected. Intuition. So I definitely feel like with this connection, pile one, in your marriage, you were connected to your pharaoh. You express yourself with this person. You weren't scared to let them know your feelings, how they felt. I forgot to pick this up. Your pharaoh probably was a dictator. So I'm seeing like the Sphinx and things of that nature. So your pharaoh at the time, I think he was really working people. Probably he was one of the pharaohs. There are a couple in history. that had slaves who were building the statues and the pyramids and the Sphinx and things of to look like him and compliment him and show that his empire was huge and vast. Like he felt that people were beneath him. He had the whole dictator thing for real. But I feel like during this lifetime and you being married to him, you felt like there was nothing you really could do about it. Like, and you know, most of the queens during this time in Egyptian, they married their brothers or siblings and things of that nature. So, of course, you being married to Pharaoh, this is always how it's been. You feel like, I'm hearing like your opinion didn't count or mattered anyways. You didn't put any effort because this is just how it was during this time. During this time period, it's like this is what it was. Did you like it? No, but there was nothing that you can do. With the creativity, it makes me feel like you were the type of queen where, you know, you did have your servants do things because, you know, you are a queen. But I feel like you didn't hesitate to do your own type of hobbies and have something of interest. I'm here to keep you sane because sometimes it did get boring, you being handed everything and not really having to do anything because you were the queen. You were, you know, that person. So you didn't really have to, you could rock on roses all day if you wanted to. But there was something in this life where you did as a hobby and a way to entertain you and keep you sane when things kept feeling repetitive and bored, pile one. With this purple intuition, pile one, I'm feeling that with this past life, you were very connected spiritually, pile one. I feel like you knew when problems were going to arise before your pharaoh knew. And you probably discussed this in the bedchamber. I don't know why I'm using bedchamber, but yes, what I'm being guided to say. Or if you had in your gut, like, if you had in the gut that something bad was going to happen, or you're trying to persuade your pharaoh not to do it, you had these intuitions about things, part one. So, part one, I feel like there was nothing for this time period. Part one, in this past life, there was nothing out of the ordinary. You was the queen, part one, period. And of course, with the rose quartz, love was involved in here. I'm feeling like that might be what it is. I'm feeling like the one thing that your queen did regret is not being able to be free. I don't know how to explain this. Because she didn't have any problems telling and expressing herself to the pharaoh how she felt, what she did not like. And like I said, she had a hobby, but she didn't feel free. She was confined to the palace per se, confined to being in this bubble in her life. Like I said, she did have the hobbies, but as a queen, you couldn't just roam around with the lower caste, as they would say, or just walk around, because you would, by you dress and how you look, it's very distinctive knowing that you are of higher status, and probably they all knew what the queen looked like, so she couldn't, her freedom, it's something about freedom. That's the one thing she regretted or was upset that she couldn't have enough freedom. So yeah, Power One. That's interesting, Power One. You had a whole Egyptian past life going on. Okay. So that is your reading, Part 1. Um, hope you resonated or felt a connection to this. Maybe you're into Egyptian things. You always gravitated towards Egyptian artifacts, sphinxes, Egyptian cats, the Egyptian culture in general, hieroglyphics. Maybe you are Egyptian, or you always wanted to go to Egypt. So for some of you, in your own way, you might like this culture in general. So that might be why you have a connection there. Or you may be feeling in your life now that you're not free. Something's holding you back, or you're not having a sense of freedom. So I hope you enjoyed Part 1. So we're going to go on to the next, to Part 2. So Part 2, you got the Moonstone. So we have the Moonstone on this card. And we have the actual Moonstone. So with the Moonstone, it's about the moon cycles and the crown chakra. So let's see what's going on in your past life, Part 2. Okay. Parent. Can I get a past life of Part 2? Ooh, that's a lot. Let's see. Can I get the energy of Part 2? The energy of Part 2's past life spirit. What was in Part 2's past life? Okay, let's see, Part 2. What? We got third party. Ooh. So we got warrior. We got blacksmith. Canada. Japan. So I'm chuckling because I feel like soulmate. I'm feeling like there's probably gonna be multiple stories in this one. Part 4. Part 4. Oh my gosh. Part 2. Let me meditate a little bit. One moment, Part 2. Look at my jack finger, y'all. It's hanging on by a thread. Okay. Let me keep going, Part 2. I think there's probably two stories. Okay, that came out the farm. So what happened in Canada on the farm? The politics passed away. Who is getting bundled up now? Ooh, okay, getting juicy. One more part two. Your past life. Okay. Okay, this is juicy, pal. Two. Okay. Okay, so there is two stories, pal. Too. Yeah, there's two stories. At first, I was confused. But I'm picking up on the story. Okay, so the first story, um, well, past life. I'm sorry, but these past lives are like, they be having like, feeling like they could be real live. Well, I mean, they are past lives, but these probably did happen. It did happen, but they can be real bomb movies nowadays at the remakes of their lives, because it's really deep. So for the first story, we have Japan. So am picking up the energy that this was obviously happened in Japan this past life. You were a blacksmith living in Japan. You were a warrior. But I feel like, Paul, too, you were a warrior first. So I don't know if you had a specific clan that you pledged to, or you were just a warrior for your village, to make sure that people didn't disrespect the people in the village, or, yeah. So either you pledge yourself to a, what did they have back then? I can't put my finger on it. In Japan, they had not the emperor. It's kind of like they had different, I don't want to say chiefs, but they all had different clans, and there was basically, yeah, they all had different clans, and maybe you pledge yourself to one of the clans, or like I said, just protected the village. But I'm feeling like you may have been pledged yourself to clans, because I keep saying that. So, Power 2, you pledged yourself to a clan. You were a warrior. You did what you were told. But I'm feeling like somewhere down the line, you realized that it was just nothing but blood, and it was not fulfilling. Spiritually, you just felt depleted. You were tired of constantly seeing death and destruction, and it was getting tiresome. So somehow, some way, I don't even know how you did it, Pal, too, in this past life. You were able to get out of it. I don't know if you were really good with the higher up. You were friends, maybe family, and you were able to get out of this without being put to death, kind of. Because normally when you pledge to those clans, it is to the death. And even if you get out, which I'm feeling this is probably how in your past life, because this definitely is a male. Remember, we're picking up energies. So you could be male or a female watching this, but during this past life, you were a male. So you definitely felt like, what did I say? Somehow, some way you got out of it. Because like I said, normally you die doing it, or if you get out, different fighting clans are gonna know or remember your face, or know that you're not a part of their clan, obviously. And like I said, when you're in your past life with this man, he knew that he got out peacefully to the clan, but he always had to have his guard up because just because you're not in the gang anymore doesn't mean that you're still affiliated, and doesn't mean that you can't die uh, regarding other clans, knowing that you're not a part of theirs. So I'm feeling with this past life pile too, this person always had their guard up, always was defensive, always want just sleep with one eye, open. Always had their katana, is that the sword for? Always had their blade under the pillow or nearby because they still was living with that warrior energy and negativity of always having to watch your back. And that's where the blacksmith came from, because it's like I had the blade to kill and now I'm making the blades to continue to help. And that might be part of the deal, or how they got out of it. Maybe the deal was, okay, you don't want to do this anymore, but you're going to still work for this clan one way, somehow. And probably becoming a blacksmith was a way to keep the katanas and whatever other weapons that they use. Someone's making them and provided them. And that's how he was able to. So with this past life, they did meet somebody. This is crazy because this feels like a movie. And they really felt that they was their soulmate. I'm sorry, guys, because I already know where this story's going. They felt like this person was their soulmate. They felt it. Probably the other person felt it too and knew it. But unfortunately, the way the circumstances were, I'm thinking that this person didn't cheat on them to cause a third party. I think this person probably might have been a prostitute to make ends meet. Or she was finessing the older man to get money out, probably still sleeping with them. Like, she was doing things to get by, period, to eat. And in his own way, he tried to, humbly feed her and at least give her somewhere to stay and help when he could, because he wasn't, anybody who wasn't, up higher up really wasn't being fed properly or living, they were very modest lives. So he wasn't at the point to fully, I'm feeling Tigger in as a wife and changing both of their lives. He wasn't able to do that, but he did do the things that he could do. Pal too. But she still had to do what she had to do. So I think the third party she wasn't technically, quote unquote, cheating traditionally, but it still was like they were going, as much as they loved each other. She would always tell him, Pautu, that, I still have to do what I have to do. And it broke his heart and hers, but it is what it is. So it always felt like there was a rotating feeling of, third parties, because there was always someone different come in the village, or maybe this one particular person who did have money and that was fond of her and took her around and did things with her and gave her money or shelter or whatever in return. So I feel like with this story pile one, I think it does connect with this moonstone, because spiritually there was a lot of things going on with this gentleman. I feel like the wars and the fighting clansmen and just seeing death and destruction, it really made him go inward and really try to fight through his demons, how to. So yeah, that's going on with the first story, pile 2. The second story, pile 2, because I knew one pile was going to get multiple past lives. So pile 2 with this, so I got confused, but some of these I don't feel that are in a literal sense. So we have America. And we have Canada. So I'm feeling like this was near the American-Canadian border. American. Yeah. Okay, and I feel like I don't know how to say this. So on one side of this border, in this Canadian American border, there was farmland. There was rivers. I'm feeling that there was a chief, and when I saw this, basically on one side, I don't know which side, if it was American or Canadian. Of course, during this time, there was no literal borders of American or Canadian side. But during that time, it was just free range land. It's not like today. But one side had a chief. There was Native Americans. There was abundance on their side. They had a path, a river of water, clean water that they can drink from. They were able to tend to the land, farm, and do what they need to do on their side for their people. And then on the other side, so I was thinking this can't be a literal desert. The other side, or wherever area, I don't know, I say this without being rude. The Americans of that time who, came from Britain or wherever they came up from, maybe it was, because I keep seeing like this was on, I keep feeling and seeing that this was on the west coast of America during this time. So maybe this was happening during the gold mine rush or the western expansion. So either when everybody was making their way out west, I forgot the name for it. Yeah, it was part of the western expansion, and all the people from the east coast during that time started to make their adventure, kind of like on the Oregon Trail. Everybody started making their way out west, and the gold mine rush and everything, everybody's expanding west. So like I said, there was no borders, but the Americans came. Don't know how to else say it, but you get what I'm saying. The expansion of people from the East Coast came to the West Coast, and for some reason, the area that they were, it was kind of desolate. They didn't know what to do with it, how to go about doing it. It didn't seem like a lot of resources. It was just hard work to farm, and they couldn't quite grasp it. So eventually, somehow, some way, they realized the chief and his people, and realized that they were flourishing somehow, and conflict ensued. So for me, Paltu, this feels like something. I feel like for Paltu, for both of your past lives, definitely strong. But this pile feels really real. This feels like something that. This feels like a book has been made about this Paltu, or a movie, and this feels like history. Paltu. Like, this may have been written down somewhere. But conflict ensued Paltu. I'm gonna be real. There was people who were, killed on both sides. People had lost family. It was just a lot of, hearing the word grief. It was a grief on both ends. And the chief just couldn't wrap his head around. Yeah, he couldn't wrap his head around it. Like, he couldn't fathom the destruction that was going So there was a lot of conflict, a lot of shed blood, for real, what I'm feeling. And this energy does not feel good at all, Patu. I feel like this is kind of like still a connect. This is like a connection, Patu, because I'm feeling like spiritually on this side, this got tiresome real quick, especially on the Native American. Like they were just tired of it, all this bloodshed, this violence, and they felt like there was enough land. It was enough land that their land didn't need to be snatched up. Like they felt like if you had just asked, we could have helped you find a way to make your land work or led you somewhere that was suitable. But just the violence and the deaths of, people's families, it was just too much for the chief and his people, obviously. So I feel like, I feel like Patu, both of your past lives are connected because it was always some type of conflict or violence, and it was just like stones, moon cycles, chakras, and I'm feeling a lot of soul searching, Patu. So maybe that's what you're going through. Let me pick up with some energy, Patu. What's the energy of Patu's past life? Spirit. What is the energy of Patu's past life? What is the energy of Patu's past life? So, okay, let's see. So a lot of purple, a lot of crown chakra, psychic abilities, dreams, truth, and compassion. For compassion, I definitely feel like this is dealing with the past life of the Japanese man. Like I said, there was a lot of compassion. There was a lot of love with the person he really wanted to be with. But the truth of the matter, this throat chakra, that in this life it would never be pristine how they want it to be, because that was just not the way that life was back then. I also feel like the chief wanted compassion, but he realized at the end that was the truth was that was not was gonna happen. That was not gonna be the result of that past life, that moment in time in his life. I feel like for you, Veer Patu, you've been having dreams. Some of you may have psychic abilities. I'm picking this up really for both your past lives. So the Japanese man, with his dreams, I feel like him and the chief. So Patu, you were at one point a Japanese warrior. Who turned to blacksmith, tried to turn his life around. And then for Patu, for whoever it connects to, you were a chief at one point. That's why the chief came up, because you were the chief. That's what you were feeling and experiencing and seeing. So for the dreams, I feel like the Japanese man in his past life, in your past life, Patu, you had terrible dreams because you witnessed the horrors of the clans fighting. I feel like the chief, he had a lot of dreams because for his dreams, it kind of went in with psychic ability. So his dreams probably gave him, was a part of his where he probably kind of seen the truth of the matter of what was probably to come for his people. I also feel like in his dreams he was searching for answers and solutions and calling his ancestors to try to find a solution for this conflict. But yeah. Yeah. And I think he was having bad dreams too, as far as seeing his people slowly decline. And yeah. So pile 2, maybe you resonate with Japanese culture, resonate with Native American culture, shaman culture, medicine woman, medicine man. Maybe you are a blacksmith or you like forging. Probably pile 2, you have a warrior mentality. Maybe you do have someone that your relationship with, or a separation pile 2, that you feel like is your person, but it's like the timing's not right. It's something off, or it's always something in the way, or just something from holding y'all back from really connecting and being with each other. So those things might have a connection to this and what's going on with your past lives, pile 2. But I hope you did get something out of this. Your past lives were very interesting, pile 2. Okay, now we're gonna go on to, oh, don't look at my finger, it's scary, y'all. It's going through something. So we're going on to pile 3. So this next pile is the Kuznight pile. Kuznight. So we got children, third eye, and heart chakra. Here's a stone. Keep in mind, if you never bought a Kuznight, they're so expensive. It's crazy. So I got this baby chip. So let's see. Pile 3. Let's tap into your energy, your past lives. Okay, Spirit. What was the past life of pile 3? Tap into the energy of pile 3. What was their past life like? What was the past life of pile 3? What was the past life? Past life of pile 3. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Pile 3, a lot of them, some fell on the ground. So, first thing to come out was ocean. So, during this past life, pile 3 were near the ocean in a rural area. So, it could be that during this time, whatever time this was, you were near a place. Okay, I'm hearing like seaside, like a village near the ocean. So you weren't in a major city. It was a rural area because it was only but so many people in this area. It wasn't a major port, but it was, yeah. Okay, so I'm hearing that it was a port. It wasn't one of the major ports near the ocean, but it was a port nonetheless in this area. Saw slave, got slave, blacksmith. Let's get a little bit more. Let's pass life pile 3. So yeah, pick off on pile 3s. Pass life. Pile 3s, pass life. Okay, let's see. I'm feeling there's a potential that you might get two past lives drawn here. You got shaman, teacher, sailor, pirate, sheriff, in South America. Just getting interesting. One moment, let me pick up. You might have two stories, pile 3. Two past lives that came out. Ooh. Oh, man. He's gonna have to air out. Oh, shit. I mean, okay, it's starting to make sense now. Ooh, yeah. Where does it go? Okay. Yep, I got it, pile 3. The card came out right on time. Look on top. Karma. Oh my goodness, pile 3. Some of you watching could be married. I'm hearing some of you watching right now, male or female, could have some relationship issues and separation. Or if you're with this person, oh man, these cards are so wet. Okay, so you do have two past lives that wanted to come out, pile 3. So the first one, they're both very, I don't want to say dark. They are kind of dark, pile 3. So be prepared. If you're going to be triggered, you're going to be I'm warning you now. They are a little deep. Please go off if you're triggered or if anything makes you feel uncomfortable. So in this past life, pile 3, I'm feeling that in the first one, you were a woman. So you could be male or female watching this. It doesn't matter. Energy is energy. So during this past life, you were a woman. Picking up, you were the slave. You were a slave. Like I said, you were in a rural area near the ocean, but it was like a small port side, a place that had you had a port in this city. Am I saying that right? Yeah, port. I'm feeling that there was a third party situation, and it was between a blacksmith and a sheriff. So, pile 3, some of you watching could be in a third party situation now. So the problem was, okay, I'm picking up the past life now. You were a slave to one of these people. Pile 3. Some of these words, are literal, but I'm feeling like it was the sheriff, but you were in love with the blacksmith. So pile number 3, the blacksmith may have showed you a little bit of compassion that you have not seen since becoming a slave is what I'm hearing. So I'm feeling like you weren't always a slave. So I don't know if you were captured and taken to this place and kind of I'm hearing the word depleted of spirit. They kind of broke you and depleted your spirit, but The blacksmith has shows you compassion that you haven't seen since that horrible transition. And in little ways, you showed compassion and love for each other. And I think the blacksmith and you kind of over time have grown fond of each other, and start to really care for each other. But this sheriff, he literally could be the sheriff of this rural oceanside town, pile number 3, or he was someone of, the sheriff kind of runs things, so he could be of someone of importance that had influence or money, and that's probably why you were his slave, pile 3. He may have bought you, may live in a larger property, or because it's on a seaport, maybe he did have money in export or import, and you attended to the house, well, obviously, but it wasn't a plantation setting. It's more so you attended to the house, or the needs of when other upper echelons would come in, he would serve and things of that nature. But and that's where the third party comes in. He, from time to time, would have you, if you get what I'm saying, pile 3. So unfortunately, you had experienced him, and you, like anybody who does not want to do anything with anybody and is forced to, despise it every single time. Like, I've been this energy, like you just was beside yourself, pile 3. In this past life, it was just, I couldn't even find the words. Like, it ate away everything every time it would happen. But the hope that you had, pile 3, was in seeing the blacksmith, because you knew that was something genuine, that's someone that you, and somehow, some way, whether I'm feeling if you ran errands, to go pick up food, or you always trying to find a way to go, into the market area, or to be able to see him or pass him by or have a conversation with him. It's just depending how your day go and where you would be going, that you were able to make time and actually talk and have a conversation and be around him. And those were the moments that you both cherished. And I feel like this happened for a long time. Yeah, it happened for a long time. Sorry about the silence. I'm trying to pick up. Did he? Yeah, okay. So I'm picking up, though, eventually, because this did happen for some time. Sadly, though, I feel like the blacksmith, he eventually end up with somebody. I think that's where the third party comes from, too. And I think the only reason that happened, because I'm feeling that it was family pressure. It was something to do with family. And that really broke your heart. Yeah. Pile 3, that really broke you in this past life. But what's crazy, though, is, of course, he never forgot you when he had the time. See, yeah, because it kept going on, because that was not a decision he made. I feel like his family forced him to do that. Because when they've met, when this started happening, I'm feeling like they were in their early 20s. Then it kept going on for so long, and the family stressed, like, so when are you gonna, settle down and get married and have children? Because unbeknownst to him, he had and wanted who he wanted, without their knowledge. But eventually it was somebody, so whenever he can break away from the family, or there was times when no one in his family was in the shop, he still would have these moments with her. But they were, I'm hearing, far in between, because, he had to keep it on the low. It did broke her. She continued to especially the times before he had a family. Cherish those, but yeah, pile 3. And I feel like that was just their life. Um, Over time, I feel like the sheriff or whoever he was at that time, um, he did not uh, take to her as much as he was back then, earlier on. So over time, that wasn't an issue for her. But yeah, in the beginning, it was terrible. So here we have story number 2. Not story. Why I keep saying story? Pile 3. But it is kind of, to me, it comes off for your past life. A story I have to tell you. This is something that needs to be told. This is their stories. I can't explain it. Don't look at my right finger. It's something that I just, it feels like when it goes through my mind, pile 3, it feels like a story in a movie that I'm watching when I explain it to you. So for the second part, definitely, in your past life, pile 3, you were in South America. You were of Mayan descent. I think, look at me, my rational brain's kicking in because I think the Mayans were in Mexico. Don't quote me. Okay. But you definitely, if you weren't Mayan, it was Aztec or Inca, you were of Mayan descent somehow. You had shaman energy. So definitely during this past life, pile number 3, you were a male. You were shaman. You were teaching people. You were a medicine woman, medicine man. When I'm feeling for this period of time, you were a medicine man. Pile 3. I'm gonna be real honest, pile 3. This is feeling like history too, because what comes along, yeah. So you were a teacher. You were a shaman. You were a medicine man. You teach your village. Those who had natural abilities, further of their talents, teach those who wanted to be teach, pass on to his knowledge to your people. You were of high importance in your community. Your community loved you. And then it all changed when the ship came, and the sailor or pirates came. I am scared to pull cards because I already know where this is going, pile 3. So what happened was, when I feel like in your past life, pile 3, you were there when the condensators, I can't pronounce it. So the Spaniards came. Yeah, I'm feeling Spaniards. So you were there in your past life when the Spaniards came and kind of, ravaged their way through your community, basically. You were there in a past life, pile 3. You were there. That's as simple as that. That's exactly what I'm feeling. You saw this destruction. You saw the breakdown, the disrespect of the man and the women and children, the disease it brought, the overall collapse of your people. Pile number 3. You saw it. Yeah, you definitely saw it. What is the energy? What is the energy spirit for pile number 3's past lives? What is the energy for pile number three's life? Pile number three's energy for their past life. What is the energy for pile number three's life? What is the energy for pile number three's? Energy for pile number three's past life. Okay. So this one wanted to pop out, so we're gonna go for it. So, expression and truth. So this is similar to kind of like pile number two. Both past lives knew the truth of the matter, and the first past life I went through, you being a slave, and you know, obviously the the white blacksmith, knew at the end of the day you really couldn't truly be together like you wanted to, but you were able to express to one another the best that y'all can, the love that was there, even through the pain and the energy, the pain and suffering and discomfort and wanting to know why these things were happening. And I'm hearing who's to blame. And I feel like for the second past life, I feel like when the Spaniards came, when you were a shaman pile number three, they came in a way where the people trusted them, and believed that they came, you know, to trade or out of good nature. But I'm feeling like eventually your intuition kicked in, that third eye, and you realized that the truth of the matter was that these people that came off these giant wooden ships were not here to be kumbaya, but really take our community and what we grown and nurtured away from us, still our identity. So I feel like you in your past life here, you eventually realize that this is it was too late. I'm hearing what was already shown and what was already done. I feel like in this past life, you being that shaman and that medicine, you realize that there was no turning back after certain events. And with the expression, I think you may have told some people what you were thinking and feeling, but they were believing and trusting in the other people more than you, is what I felt. And when you're shaman energy in your past life, like they were just like, they were brushing you off during that lifetime. They were saying, no, they wouldn't do that, or give them a chance. They were, yeah. So these came out in reverse. So when I see red, ancestors and there's finances, so obviously in the first lifetime there wasn't, I mean, yeah, I want to say lifetime. I want to say the first lifetime. Ooh. In the first past time, I mean, what? The first past life. So is this your first lifetime? That's interesting. Okay, so for your first past life that I went over, pile number 3, I feel like, of course, during this time, the blacksmith and you, because you were a slave, obviously, finances weren't, the greatest. I'm also feeling like you were feeling like the closer, the not the closer, the farther away you were from your homeland, the farther you felt from your ancestors. Emotions is in reverse. Also feeling like pile number 3. Of course, with the first past life, you weren't able to fully live and express yourself because you weren't able to because of the time and the place and the predicament. For the second past life, stolen of my riches. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So I feel like the past life with the shaman, I feel like you were in this past life, you weren't really taking. I feel like the shaman wasn't worried about the gold and that. He felt like he was taken of his pride and his culture and his community. Taken of his people and the art. And yeah. So it wasn't necessarily about finances and gold. It was just about the lack of his people being, I'm hearing, slaughtered and taken advantage of. Of course, with emotion, I feel like I said, the shaman was beside himself because in this past life, you were there. You witnessed, and as a medicine man, as a shaman, pile number 3, you saw the destruction. You were distraught. And I feel like during this time, you were older. So you still had a warrior's heart, and you did what you could. Protect those who you love and yourself as much as you could, but the between the guns and the advancements that have not been seen or known about, it was, and like I said, he's already had, the dreams came out. Yep, I feel like this shaman already had dreams about these events. Like I said, he had that third eye. Yep, he had that third eye open and was aware and knew that this was going to happen, and there's really nothing much you could do. And then we have the limitless. So I feel like this was potential. This was the potential. If I'm feeling like for the past life, pile number 3, there is potential. I don't know why I keep saying this was the potential. Through all the circumstances, I'm feeling like these 2 past lives, they felt like if they were dealt a different hand as far as maybe people listening to him or you during this past life, the shaman, making preparations, telling them no, really getting them as far as away from them or not accepting them and treating them with disdain and not with open arms, that the history could have been different. And I feel like from up here, I feel like there was a potential for the slave past life, pile number 3, that they did want to, they talked about running away, and there could have been a potential where they could have successfully ran away, and they had a whole story. They were going to go on the ship. Every time someone would ask, him being a white male, he could just say that, she's my personal slave. Like, they still would have had to abide and live with what was going on around them and blend in. But they still would have been able to at least be together and find a way somehow. So they felt, I'm feeling like there's a lot of regret, pile 3. Because if they felt in both these past lives that they felt like they had made some changes or did things differently. They had the potential for this limitless energy to live in their truth, as far as what they wanted. So write down pile 3. This could resonate because you might be of South American descent, had a strong urge to love Mayan, Aztec, or Inca culture. You might be a shaman or like teaching, have a medicine woman or man energy about you. You might like boats and being on the water. Like I said, with problem 2, you might like blacksmithing and forging your own weapons. You might live near the ocean, or you love the ocean, like I said before. You may live in a rural area now. You might be of African American descent. In your relationship right now, you might be going through third party situation, like I said before. But definitely with these 2 past lives, it dealt with the heart chakra and with the third eye of knowing. So this is your reading for pile number 3. I hope this resonated, or you got a better understanding, or you enjoyed this video. Thank you, pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, for even watching. Please like and subscribe. Till next time, love and light.